Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Okay. Well, very good morning, guys. So last day we've just been talking about the two-dimensional arrays, right? So two-dimensional arrays, as I said, as the name indicates, they will be storing you the data in the form of rows and columns. The data will be stored in the form of rows and columns. I explained you about the declaration and also explained you about how to work with those arrays also. Okay. The first I said you how to access the arrays by using a for each loop. I explained you how to access it by using a for each loop. Then I explained you how to access by using a nested for loop. Two options, nested for loop. Okay, how to use a nested for loop and access it. So these are the things what I just demonstrated to you in the previous class. Accessing by using a for each loop and accessing by using a nested for each loop. Okay, which one is, sorry, accessing by using a single for each loop and a nested for loop. Nested for loop. See which one is easy when you're accessing, guys. Nested for each loop, for each loop is easy. For each loop is simple and easy, but I said you the drawbacks also. What is the drawback? In for each loop, you cannot print the output row by row. And second thing is assignment is not possible with for each loop. If at all you wanted to do an assignment, compulsory you're required to go for using only the for loop. The for loop only should be used. We cannot use the for each loop. For each loop is only for accessing. That's all. You can't do anything more with the for each loop. Okay. So I just demonstrated everything about now. Listen, how do we assign values to a two-dimensional array at the time of declaration? How do we assign values to a two-dimensional array at the time of declaration? Declaration time, how to assign values? Watch it. Int ARR is equals to. Now want to assign the values at the time of declaration. So open the curly braces. Now each record or each row should be under a separate curly brace like this again. First row, this is one row, comma, again. This is my second row. This is my third row. and this is my fourth row. Finally, and it. Is that clear? This is how you are going to assign values to a two-dimensional array at the time of declaration. Single dimensional array means simply one curly brace, but two-dimensional array, you're required to just start with the curly brace. Again, each row, the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, all this should be under the curly braces again. Is that clear? So this is how you assign values to two-dimensional arrays at the time of their declaration. Okay. Oh, is it clear with two-dimensional arrays now? What next? Not audible. Why is it changing? Am I audible now? Okay. Yeah. What I explained is how to assign values to a two-dimensional array at the time of its declaration. This is assigning values to two-dimensional arrays at the time of declaration. So what you're required to do, you know the declaration part yesterday already I said you, but now you want to assign the value. Start with the curly brace to represent it is an array. Now each row values under separate curly braces. This is first row value, second row values, third row, fourth row. Finally, and your array there. That's it. That's what I explained. Okay? Fine. Next. The next thing what you're going to learn now is about a different concept here. Watch it here. Actually, I have a small requirement. What's the requirement? I'm developing an application for a school. I'm developing an application for a school. For a school, I'm developing an application. In that, I have a requirement of storing the total marks attained by students in a particular classroom. What is the requirement? I want to store the total marks achieved by students in a particular classroom. There is a classroom, 30 students are there, examinations completed, and I wanted to store the total marks achieved by these 30 students now. So that is the requirement now. Two ways to do it. One, declare 30 individual variables. Declare 30 and store them. Okay. Second option, declare an array and store them. Declare an array and store them. What type of array? Single dimensional, two dimensional? Single or two dimensional? Single dimensional is sufficient now. Why? You wanted to store total marks, that's all, of 30 students now. So you can just declare a single dimensional array with a size of 30 and you can start storing the 30 student marks under each and every cell. Single dimensional array will do its job. But guys, I want to store the total marks achieved by students in 4 different classes. In 4 different classes. If you want to store in 4 different classes, then single dimensional, two dimensional. Then you're required to go for a two dimensional. Okay, then you just required to go for a two dimensional. Are you clear? Is everyone facing this problem or only Anisha? Voice is not clear. Online students respond here. Is everyone facing a voice problem? Who are facing the problem? Disconnect and connect once. Who are facing the problem? Disconnect and connect once. Just check it out now. Am I audible? Is my voice clear now? వాయిస్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వస్తుందని చూడండి. వినండి పైన ఒకసారి ఆన్ చేసి వినండి. Okay, check it out now. If it is audible. Okay. May not be a problem. Just disconnected and connected may not be a might not be a problem now. Okay, fine. So my requirement is said here. What is it? I have 30 students in a classroom, and I want to store the total marks achieved by the 30 students in a classroom. What do? You take one single dimensional array and store the 30 student marks under that array now. You take a single dimensional array and store the total marks achieved by the 30 students under that right now. Arvind? ప్రాబ్లం అంటున్నారు. నని ఏడి మార్చమనండి ఒకసారి. We don't have 10 or 20 mics to change here. Problem is present miss with an amplifier will rectify that. We can't change mics. Yeah, for some it is clear and some are facing the problem. I don't understand why. Yeah, who is facing the problem? Did you disconnect and connect? Disconnect and connect here. Who is facing that particular problem? Because problem is there means all should face the problem. Many of the people are telling is clear. So problem is still present with that from your side. You need to disconnect once and connect. Completely stop Zoom and start again. ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుందండి కొంతమందికి, అందరికీ రావట్లేదు, కొంతమందికి వస్తుంది. బ్రేక్ అవుతుందంట. Hello, am I audible? Is that clear now? Okay. Fine. So come on, let's continue the class. Okay, what's I'm telling you? So your requirement is like you wanted to store the data of 30 students. So we declare one single time array and start storing the data in the array now. We start storing the data in a array. Fine. But now I want to store the total marks achieved by students in 4 different classes. In 4 different classes. Then you cannot use a single dimensional array. Then you're required to go for using a 2-dimensional array. So how many rows? How many classes are there? That many number of rows. So there are 4 classes. So 4 rows. Okay. In each class here, there are 80 students. In each class, there are 80 students. So what is the size of your array? 4 by 80. The size of the array is going to be 4 by 80. You're going to declare an array with a size 4 by 80. Suppose the classes are first, second, third, and fourth. And each class is going to have 80 students under them. You're going to declare an array with 4 by 80. You declared it, consumed it, everything is fine. Now, 4 by 80, we just start storing it. But unfortunately, I faced a problem here. What is the problem, In these 4 classes, students are not in equal. Means I don't have the same students in all the 4 classes. In the first class, I have 40 students. In the second class, I have 50 students. Otherwise, first class I have 50 students. Second class I have 60 students. Third class I have 80 students. Fourth class I have 40 students. So it's a zigzag, not going to be proper. Now, what is the size of my array? I asked a question in English only here. Respond fast. Be active first. What is the size of the array? 4 by 80. Now also it is 4 by 80 only. No change. 4 by 80. But if I declare 4 by 80 in the first row, 30 cells should be left empty. Second row, 20. Fourth row, 40. 30 plus 20 plus 40, 90. 19 to 4, 360. 360 bytes of space we are wasting now. Did you understand me or not? How much? 360 bytes of space is getting wasted over there. Are you clearer or not? So that much of space is going to be wasted if I declare an array as 4 by 80. To resolve it, one thing is declare 4 individual single dimensional arrays. Declare 4 individual single dimensional arrays. One array with 50, one array with 60, one array with 80, one array with 40. 4 arrays. Problem solved. Okay. Our second option is declare jagged array. So what's a jagged array? A jagged array is also a 2-dimensional array. A zagged array is also a 2-dimensional array. But the difference between a jagged array and a 2-dimensional array is, in a 2-dimensional array, all the rows will be having equal number of columns. In a 2-dimensional array, all the rows will be having equal number of columns. But in a jagged array, the column size varies from row to row. Every row can have its own size. First row has 50, second row 60, third row 80, fourth row 40. We call them as jagged arrays. We don't have this jagged arrays in our C or C++ languages. What we have is only 2-dimensional. So if at all you want to declare an array with this size now, compulsory the array should be 4 by 80 and leave the spaces empty. But to resolve, but unnecessary memory wastage, na? So if you don't want to waste the memory, don't declare 2-dimensional, declare single dimensional. Declare single dimensional. Solution in C language, I'm telling you, C and C++. But when you come to Java, C#, they introduce the concept called jagged arrays. They introduced the concept called as jagged arrays and just provided you a jagged arrays for you in this case now. Are you clearer or not? Okay, they introduced you the jagged arrays and provided you jagged arrays to you right now. So what happens? A jagged array is also a 2-dimensional array, I'm telling you. Only difference is the column size is going to vary from row to row. The first row can have 50, second row 60, third row 80, fourth row 40. So now the space will not be wasted anywhere now. Okay, let's not take this much size. Let us not take this much size here. Let's take 5, 6, 8, and 4. Okay. So this is how a jagged array looks. Are you clear? That is how the array looks like. It is going to be your array. Okay, na? Two-dimensional array only. Okay, but the column size is varying from row to row. So all the rows are not going to have the equal number of columns. The row size varies. Sorry, the column size varies from row to row in case of the jagged arrays. Okay, so fine. So how do we declare them is a question now. So I'll tell you. See, jagged arrays are also known as, what's a jagged array? This is also a two-dimensional array. This is also a two-dimensional array, but the difference is in a normal two-dimensional array, all the rows will be having equal number of columns, but in a jagged array, column size varies from row to row. Okay, listen, jagged arrays are also known as array of arrays. It's an array of arrays here. That is, each row is now considered as one single dimensional array and multiple single dimensional arrays of different sizes are combined together to form a new array. Is that clear? So we also call it as a single dimensional array. Why means? Because multiple single dimensional arrays with different sizes are combined together to form a new array. That's what. Are you clear? I'm sorry. Array of arrays. Each row, spelling mistake. Each row is now considered as one single dimensional array, and multiple single dimensional arrays of different sizes are combined together to form a new array. Okay, that's what. So now the question is, so how to declare this? How to declare a jagged array? See, to declare a jagged array, first we need to specify the number of rows in the array. First, we need to specify what? The number of rows in the array. You cannot specify the columns here. You can only tell the rows in the array. And then, pointing to each row, we need to tell the number of columns in that row. What you should tell first? Number of rows. After telling the number of rows, you're required to be pointing to each row, and then you need to tell the number of columns in that row. First row, how many columns you want. Second row, how many columns you want. Third row, how many columns. Fourth row, how many columns. So first, let's understand how to declare. Okay, how to declare. See, this is the syntax to declare a jagged array. Int. Okay, I'm declaring code. Int. If the two dimensional, see, what is this? Single dimensional array, right? This one? Jagged array. Zagged array, that is a zagged array. ARR is equals to new int of. Tell the rows, but don't tell the columns. You can't tell the columns. Why? If one size you can tell, four sizes, how can you tell? Correct? So now this is the first thing. See, first we need to specify the number of rows in the array. Done. What next? Pointing to each row, you should tell the number of columns in that row now. Okay. I need to point to each row and tell the number of columns in that particular row. Okay. Let me point to the first row. How do I point to the first row? Say, in a single dimensional array, if I say AR of 0, in a single dimensional array, if I say AR of 0, first column, correct or not? First column, AR of 1, second column. But in a jagged array, if I say AR of 0, that is first row. Did you understand the difference? In a single dimensional array, if I say AR of 0 means first cell or the first column. But in a zagged array, if I say AR of 0, that is first row, not first column. Watch it. AR of 0 is the first row. AR of 1 is the second row. AR of 2 is the third row. And AR of 3 is the fourth row. Is it clearer or not? Okay. Now you observe. AR of 0 means first row, correct? Is equals to new int of 5. Are you clear with that statement? First row size is 5. Come on, continue. 1 is equals to new int of I want 6. Third row I want 8. New int of 8. Next. 4. Understood everyone? First what you are telling? Number of rows. Then number of columns to each row. Number of columns to each row. And once you do that, this is how the memory allocation is performed. Any doubts? Understood how to work with it? But the big challenge is accessing values from the zagged array. We'll understand about that one. But the big challenge is accessing the values from this particular jagged array. How are we going to access the values from this particular jagged array is only the biggest challenge for us now. Okay. Let me demonstrate. How do you do that? Okay. Yeah. See the syntax. Type double square brace. Array name is equals to new. Type rows, but don't tell columns. Don't tell the columns over there. Okay. That's the syntax. Yeah. You can see an example. Declaration. Second option. You can give list of values also. One thing here is not possible here. What do you know? Declaration and initialization with the default values is not possible. Array, till now I'm telling you 3 options. Do you remember? First option, declaration and initialization with default values. Second, declaration separately, initialization with default value. Third one, declaration and initialization with a given set of values. But here the first one is not possible. What is not possible? Declaration and initialization with the default values is not possible. So this is only declaration, remember, not initialization. Initialization is done separately. But this is possible again. What? That is possible. I'll show you that. How to do that? We'll talk on it. Okay, no worries. We'll just discuss about that one, how you can do that. Okay, so fine. So declaration and initialization with default values is possible. Is not possible here. Okay, with a given set of values is again going to be possible. Okay, now we just gone for declaring one jagged array. So this is our jagged array. So the challenge I said you here is accessing the values is the biggest challenge. I'll show you. I'll write a program and demonstrate it. Concentrate on this. Jagged demo.cs using system class First declare the array. Int int ARR is equals to new int of 4. ARR of 0 is equals to new int of 5. ARR of 1 is equals to new int of 6. And ARR of 3 is equals to new int of 4. Okay, now? So the array is ready now. Okay, the array got declared. See guys, this picture, now also every row has a row index. Now also every column has a column index. I did not show the indexes there just to represent the number of cells. I put you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, but index positions are same. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7. And last row, 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3. Are you clear? Okay, index positions are same now also. No difference in that also. Everything is same like two-dimensional. Okay, now I wanted to print by default all how many cells? 5 plus 6, 11, 11 plus 19, 19 plus 4, 23 cells totally. 23 cells totally. And all the 23 cells contains a value. What is the value? 0. Default value 0 only, na? So contains the default value 0. I wanted to print and see them. Yesterday, do you remember the two-dimensional array values we printed by using a single for each loop? Yesterday we done, huh? The two-dimensional array values we printed by using a single for each loop. Let's try the same now. For each int I in ARR. Console dot write I. Console dot write. CSC jacked demo. Okay. I got an error here. What is the error? See? Cannot convert integer array to int. Without doubt, where did we convert integer array to int? But it's telling you we cannot convert a integer array to int. Why is it telling? I just used the simple for each loop. I did not use any conversions anywhere or that. Simply I used a for each loop. But still I'm getting a conversion error. Okay, let me explain you why you got the error. Guys, all of you answer this question. What is this? Integer. Correct? This one? Array of integers. This one? I did not say single dimensional array. I said you array of integers. Tell me like that. Again, don't tell jacked array. See here, did I say single dimensional array? I did not say. What did I say? Array of integers. I described it. Same way, what is this? Array of integer arrays. Yeah, that's an array of integer arrays. Now, correct or not? This is integer. When I put a square brace, this is an integer array. When I put another square brace, what is it? Array of integer arrays. Did you understand me? It's an array of integer arrays. Okay. Now, if I use a for each loop, on this, what will happen? For each iteration, it returns an correct or not. For each iteration, one integer will come now. It's an integer array now. So for each iteration, what will come? One integer will come. Okay. Now understand. If I'm using a for each loop on this, can you tell me for each iteration what it returns? For each iteration, it returns An integer array. It doesn't return an integer. What it returns? Why? It's an array of integer arrays now. When we use the for each loop, the return type will be integer array. Are you clear? Any confusion? Tell me. Understood now? Now you see. Now come to your code here. When you come to your code here, what are you telling? For each int I in ARR. But the array is returning you integer array. But you are capturing as a how it works. That doesn't work now. Did you catch my point or not? What the loop returns you? Integer array. What are you capturing? Integer. That is why it was telling you, array, I'm not able to convert the integer array to integer because that is returning integer array and you are trying to capture in a integer. Are you clear? Can I write like this? Yes or not? I'm giving a different name. See guys, these names are your choice. Whatever name you want to give it. Just to understand that is an array, I said IARR. Okay. Now you guys carefully observe this. What's it? For each iteration, you get an array or you get an integer. You get an integer array. For each iteration, you get a by first iteration, first array. That is nothing but the first row. Second iteration, second array, nothing but the second row. Third iteration, third array, third row. Fourth iteration, fourth array, fourth row. Clearer? Can you print a row directly? Can you print an array directly? If we can print an array directly, why yesterday we written that much of all the coding then? We cannot print an array directly. Okay? So what to do? Watch this code if you can follow me. For each int I in IARR. Did you catch me? Understood all of you what am I doing? Array. Outer loop will return you an array, correct? Inner loop is going to print the array values now. This is the same thing I explained yesterday. Inner loop will print you the values of a row. The row is nothing but an array. Correct? What is the outer loop doing? Outer loop returns an array and inner loop prints the values of the array. And here I am writing console dot write what? I plus space. Okay? And again come here. Here you say console dot write line. So now the output is printed row by row or not? Actually guys, it's a jagged array. If I print all the 23 values on one line, how will you understand it's a jagged array? Tell me first. How you expect the output? Row by row only, na? First row 5 values, second row 6 values, third row 8 values, fourth row 4. If I see like that only, I'll get a confirmation. Yes, this is a jagged array. You say it's a jagged array, but print all values in one line. Confusing now. So that's why see the code. I printed you the values row by row. Is it clear? And again, the inner for loop contains one line of code, right? Yes or not? Minimize. How? Remove the curly braces. That's it. So this is the code I'm using for printing the values of a jagged array. Can't I print the values by using a single for each loop, sir? No, not possible. You can do it with a two-dimensional array, but you cannot do it with a jagged array. Single for each loop cannot be used. You're required to compulsory use a nested for each loop. Okay? Watch the output first. Is it clear, everyone? Okay, now? So you just got the output now. See? 5, 6, 8, 4. It's a perfect jagged array. Okay? You can print these values here in 4 different ways. You can print these values in 4 different ways. What are the 4 ways? I said you the first option. What is it? Accessing the values of a jagged array by using nested for each loop. Okay? Now again, I'm repeating my question. What is the inner loop doing? Printing the values of a row. Correct? Printing the values of a row pointed by outer loop. Outer loop is pointing to a row. Inner loop is printing the values of that row. Okay, printing the values of a row. That's what exactly happening there. Okay. Now tell me, can I print the values of a row by using a for loop? Array, row means single dimensional. Yeah. Can I print the values of a row by using a for loop? So why no? Yeah, for loop for you can be used in the place of the for each. Now I can also use a for loop there. In the place of a for each, I can also use a for loop there. How? Watch again. For each integer array I ARR in ARR. So you're picking one by one row, right? Correct. Now here I am writing for int I equals to 0, I less than IARR dot length. Remember, IARR is your row now. That is the single dimensional array. I plus plus I plus plus console dot write IARR of I plus space. Again, console dot write line. Now you see, this is the second way how I can print these values. Recompile and execute. All are combined off. Now it looks like a 8 rows. Array, it looks like 8 rows now. Do one thing. I'll add a line break here. Yeah, just a line break. Okay, now? So just printing you the values in separate statements now. Okay, so this is the second way. So what is the second option I shown you? Printing the values by using a for loop in for each loop, not a nested for loop or not a nested for each loop also. What is it? For loop in a for each loop. That's what we have just been tried there. Okay, so also accessing the values of a jagged array by using for loop. I'm sorry, for loop in a for each loop. Anyone has any doubts? Is everyone clear? I'm again repeating you. See, there is a for each loop I'm using on the array. For every iteration, it returns you one row. One row is nothing but one single dimensional array. One row is nothing but one single dimensional array. What is the name of the array? IARR. Array, you already know how to print the values of a single dimensional array. I done the same thing only. Again, the inner loop is doing the same thing. Again, the inner loop is doing the same thing. What is it doing? Printing the values of a row. Printing the values of a row. It will print you the row values to you in this case now. Are you clear? Okay. Now, third option. What is the third option? 4 options are there. I'm showing you one by one. Third option. You know this. Yesterday we used nested for loop. What is that? Nested for loop. We can also print the values by using a nested for loop. Okay. We'll try again, sir. Third option. Third way I'll show you. Again, I'm printing a line break here. And what are we trying? Accessing the values of a jagged array by using nested for loop. Guys, last day I explained you how to use a nested for loop for all of you. Come on, tell me. For int I equal to 0, I less than ARR dot get length of 0, I plus plus. Referring to rows now. Correct. It runs for 4 times. It runs for 4 times. Next, for int j equal to 0, j less than arr dot get length of 1. Oh, j plus plus, yeah, not I plus plus. Console dot write arr of, last day what did you write here? I comma j, not I comma j. I of j. The declaration is 2 square brace. Accessing also same only, 2 separate square brace plus some space. Again, you come here and you write console dot. Yeah, we already learned in the last class. This is the code we have written again. The inner for loop has a single line, so I can delete off my curly brace here. This is the code I explained to you in the last class. You are clear with this code or not? Yesterday we saw this, correct? But today this code won't execute here. This won't run. Why, sir? What is the problem? I'll ask you this one. Tell me the answer. If I print arr dot get length of 0, if I print arr dot get length of 0, what it prints? Tell me the value. I did not ask you rows or columns. Tell me the value. 4. What is printed? 4. If I print arr dot get length of 0, it will print me 4, correct? If I print arr dot get length of 1, what it prints? 5. 8. Why each of you are telling different answers? Why are you not telling the same answer? You only don't know the correct value. How do the computer know? Yeah, the rows are not fixed. Sorry, the columns are not fixed. You don't know the answer here. You don't know the answer. No. 5 or 6 or 8 or 4. A confusion now. If it returns 8, do you know what is the problem? Inner loop runs for 8 times, correct? First row has 5 values. And I already said you in the introduction classes, do you remember? C# has array bound checking. If you try to run the loop 8 times and the values are 5, you will get an error. Did you get my point or not? Okay. See, yesterday all rows have equal columns, no problem. But today, the column size is not equal all the times. The column size is varying from row to row. Every row has a different column size here. And because every row has a different column size here, you cannot give an answer for get length of 1. If a human brain cannot answer, can a computer answer? Huh? Is a computer intelligent than a human brain? Don't forget a point here. A computer is designed by us. If a human brain cannot answer this question, a computer also cannot answer the question. Is that clearer or not? So the conflict here is the number of columns is a big conflict. So this will give you error because the column size is varying. Then what should I do? Okay, this cannot be used here. Then what to write? First answer my question. When you're referring to the first row, inner loop should run for how many times? When you're referring to the first row, inner loop should run for how many times? 5 times here, 5 rows, 5 columns. Nah. Inner loop should run for, means this should be j less than 5, correct? Tell me. When I'm referring to the second row, inner loop should run for 6 times. Means this should be j less than 6. Third time, 8 times. Fourth time, means the value there should be fixed or changing. That should be changing. Okay, now? Okay, fine. Observe this. What is error of 0? First row, you know that, na? Yes or not? Now tell me what is error of 0 dot length? 5. Tell me the value directly. Yeah. Your value visible there, na? What is error of 0 dot length? 5. Error of 1 dot length? 2 dot length? 3 dot length? So can I write like this? ARR of I dot length. What is I? I is 0 first time, 1 second time, 2 third time, 3 fourth time. Am I correct? When I is 0, what is this code now? Error of 0 dot length. That is 5. When I is 1, error of 1 dot length, that is 6. When I is 2, error of 2 dot length, that is 8. When I is 3, error of 3 dot length, that is 4. Are you clearer how to use the inner loop now? You cannot use get length of 1 there. What you should write? Error of I. You remember, I is always your row. I is always your row index. You are referring to the row and finding the length of the row now. First row 5, second row 6, third row 8, and fourth row 4. So this is going to give you the result to you. Watch. You got the same output. Check it out. No difference. Is that clearer? The same output. Can you tell me the fourth option? Observe the combinations what I used. Now you can try one more combination. Can anyone tell me what is that? For each loop inside a for loop. What you can use? For each loop inside a for loop. See here we used what? For loop in a for each loop. Now reverse it. For each loop in a for loop. Okay. So that is the fourth way how you can access the values. See, accessing the values of a jagged array by using for loop in a for each loop. I'm sorry. For each loop in a for loop. Thank you. First loop is for loop. Tell me for loop. Just a second. Tell me. For int I equal to 0. I less than ARR dot get length of 0. Correct only? Okay. I plus plus. This is my outer loop. Okay. Now the inner loop is a for each loop now. For each int x. I said you these names are your choice. If you want to give your name there, give there. No problem at all. In ARR of I. ARR of I is the row. Don't forget. So first time, first row. Second time, second row. Third time, third row. Fourth time, fourth row. Console dot write x. Console dot write line. This is the fourth option. Okay, just hold on it. I closed up the command prompt. Oh. CSC jagged demo.cs. Jagged demo. All the four. Same output again. Okay, now? So accessing is clear. How many ways? 4 options I shown you for accessing the values. Next is assignment. Now we need to talk about the assignment. Okay, come on, look at this code here. I'm asking the question. Can I assign any values by using this code? Can I assign values by using that code? No, why? For each loop cannot be used for assignment of the values. For each loop cannot be used for assignment of the values. So that's a for each loop. In last class, I very clearly said you, for each is only for accessing, cannot be used for assigning. Okay? Okay, fine, perfect. What about this code? Can I use this code for assignment of the values? Come on, yes or no? Yes is the answer. Inner loop is for loop, na? You assign values to inner loop or outer loop? Inner loop is for loop only, but for loop can assign values. Correct? That code can be used for assignment because inner loop is for loop. Can I use this code for assignment? 100% sure we are. Why? For. Both are for only. What about the last one? Yes or no? No. Why? Observe all of you the inner loop. Don't look at the outer loop. Look at the inner loop. If the inner loop is for, assignment works. But if the inner loop is for each, assignment. So 1 and 4 cannot be used for assignment because in 1 and 4 inner loops are for each. 2 and 3 inner loops are for. So both of them can be used for assignment of the values. Is that clear? Are you clearer? Okay. So that's what. So I can assign to this code and I can assign through this code also. Let's try. Look guys, assigning values to a jagged array by using what? By using I'm writing this one by using for loop in a for each loop. For loop in a for each loop. How to write the loop? How to assign? I'll tell you. How to write the loop first? Tell me. Don't look into the notes and prompt. Try. Come on. First for each. For each. Int array. Forgetting again. For each loop na. For each int array. I ARR in ARR. Next, for int I equal to 0, I less than I ARR dot length, I plus plus. Okay, fine. Now what? Now you want to assign a access. Assign I ARR of I is equals to I plus 1. Can you tell me what is the output? 0 is wrong first. What are the values in the first row, second row, third row, fourth row? That's the question. First row. 1 to 5. 1 to 5. Second row. 1 to third row. 1 to 8. Fourth row. 1 to 4. Why? I is reset every time now. So first row will contain 1 to 5. Second row 1 to 6. Third row 1 to 8. And fourth row 1 to 4. Come on, let's compile, execute and see. Is that clear? 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 8 and 1 to 4. Okay, fine. Now second, I can assign the values by using nested for loop. This also can be used for assignment of the code. Let's try that also. Assigning values to a jagged array by using nested for loop. First, tell me the loop code. We'll talk about the assignment later. Loop code. For int I is equals to 0. I less than ARR dot get length of plus.
Recording in progress.
Okay, now you can declare jagged arrays also. You can declare jagged arrays also. Watch it, all of you. Where ARR is equals to new of. Concentrate on this. New of. Open the curly brace. Again. New of. Nowhere you will tell the data type. That's what the point I'm trying to tell you. New of. Understood? What is this? ARR is a jagged integer array. That's not a jagged array. That is a jagged integer array. You cannot declare two-dimensional arrays like this. You cannot declare two-dimensional arrays. If you give row and column size equal, sorry. If you give the column size equal for all rows, then also it is jagged array only. Did you understand my point or not? I want a two-dimensional, sir. If you want a two-dimensional, we don't have a direct option to declare it two-dimensional. Just give the same column size for all, but then also it is jagged array only, not a two-dimensional array. The option is available only for single-dimensional and jagged, but not for two-dimensional. For two-dimensional, what they said is, array use the same jagged array only there. What happens? Are you clearer? So this is all about arrays for us. Is it clearer? I started with the single dimensional arrays, two dimensional arrays, jagged arrays. Finally, I shown you implicitly typed arrays. Guys, can you try this and write the code to print them? I given the declaration in the notes. What you do is write a program and write the code to print all the values. Are you clear? And here I shown you 4 different ways to print value. Which one you feel comfortable, use that. No need to write all 4. Which one you feel comfortable, write this. But try writing the code without looking into the notes. That is my suggestion. Practice the previous one, understand them, and try this without looking into notes. Means printing code. Don't look for the printing code in the notes and try. Is that clear? Let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow.
Recording stopped.